Hey guys, John here. Today we're in Diva and let's make a nice JP-8000 Supersaw and add some cool little twists to that here. So right click, go to a knit preset and we can just go right off the bat to the 8000. And for now we can go to this filter here. We might change that a little bit later, but we'll see how this sounds at first. So by default, this is going to come on balance on the middle. So we have something like this. So first thing, let's open up our filter here and go all the way to the left. So we're just listening to this first oscillator. So what we need to do is bring up our mix here to a pretty good amount, and then kind of dial in the detune to taste. Maybe something like that for now. And let's change our transpose from -12 to 0. So we have something like this to work with, and then now for our balance, let's go all the way to the right and dial in this one here. And maybe we can go a little bit to the left on the detuning here. Just a slight bit there. Because once we have these mixed. And now for this oscillator here, the second one, let's drop this down by -12, so 1 octave, something like that. And then slowly fade in the second one. We can bring up our resonance just to kind of give us a little bit more of that high end back. And you can always go through the other filters and see how that affects the sound. I kind of prefer this one for this type of sound. Now let's go ahead and add a little bit of chorus. That's quite a lot. So let's go from ensemble to classic, bring down our mix maybe a little bit less than halfway, and increase our depth a little bit and drop down our rate. Okay, so we're getting close here. Now for our second effect, let's turn this bad boy on and let's go to a delay. Now for these, I kind of like making the left here maybe something like 2, and then the right something 2 as well, and the center maybe something like 4, and bring our wow pretty substantially up and a little bit of our center and see how this sounds here. Okay, so now we need to do a little bit of EQing here, so bring in our high pass a little bit. Okay, now bringing down our low pass. Okay, so this is cool. We have a nice raw sound, but we need to EQ this because it can get a little bit nasty for a little while. So let's turn on our EQ and let's give it a nice little high pass here. Now let's get out some of that gross mud here, and we can kind of find that here with one of these bands. Like that. Bring up our top end a little bit with the shelf. And then find our presence here. Okay, so now we basically have our 2 effects. We have some EQ. Now we want to do a little bit of reverb here. So I have a Valhalla Vintage Verb, and I'm on a dirty plate, one of my favorites here. And maybe the decay, I guess, depending on how much you want. But right now it's at about 2.61 seconds. So let's give it some delay or some reverb here. Okay, this is kind of cool. Our pre-delay is about 3.36 milliseconds, which we can change a little bit. But something that's really cool about this type of sound is if we distort the EQ itself, right? Because sometimes we can put distortion on our patches themselves, but distorting the reverb that we send our sound to can have a really cool effect. So what we can do, we can select our channel, and then one of my favorites here is the one from Arturia, this Opt Dist Amp 21. And by default, it's going to come on the Strat Grit layer, so let's see how that sounds. So this one's kind of cool. I've gone through a couple of these that I like. I like this aggressive arpeggio, and then kind of just dialing down the dry wet just a little bit. It just gives it a little bit extra hair on it. So if we like a cool sound like this and we want to work with this, we can give it a little bit of a release, because if you're using this almost as a lead, you do kind of want that longer type of release. So we can click on release here if we want to use this envelope and bring down our decay here. Now, what's really cool, you might have a different tool for this, but let's turn off our release for now. And if we're in FL Studio, what we can do, then this is really kind of fun. So we can go here and type in Gross Beat, if hopefully you have this one. This is a really cool plugin. So we put this on here and we can test different types of gate sounds. So down here we have Trance Gate 1, so let's select this and hit play on our transport and play some chords. And actually enable it here in our inserts. And what's cool about this plugin as well is we can dial in a little bit of our attack and kind of smooth this out. And there's quite a few other ones to pick from. We have Trance Gate 2. And we have kind of other ones to play around with as well. Yeah, but there's a lot of these to pick from here. Trance Gate is probably one of my favorite ones, this first one or the second one, or you can just dial in whatever you would like to as well. And you can even get some crazy stuff here with some time if you want to do something like that, changing the pitch here. But yeah, that's a lot of fun for you to explore here, but a lot of the gate stuff here is pretty fun to mess around with. Now that's if you want to use it as a gate. We can always turn this off here, and then like I said, we can turn on a release. Kind of have a long tail or something like that to work with. We could do some filter cutoff modulation. That's totally up to you if you want to do that. But generally, try out this type of sound here. It's really two of these oscillators, dialing in your mix and detune for these both oscillators and kind of dialing in the balance how you want it. If you want a little bit more of that low end, then increase this balance to the right here. Because remember, this second oscillator, we put down 1 octave. Then always some filter cutoff modulation could be fun. But But yeah, I'll leave the experimentation to you. I'll put this patch up for download if you would like to check it out. But yeah, it's a really cool sound. Diva always sounds amazing, and then doing some distortion on the reverb can be pretty cool results, actually. So thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you learned something, and we'll see you in the next video.